When did you realize this was what you wanted to do?
I still don't know if I have, to be honest. I just like so much stumbled into doing photography and videography stuff. Like I was always interested in doing photography in school. Like it was this kind of almost like guarded like secret in that like only 6th years could study higher photography. And there was kind of this like thing where you had to do like higher art as well at the same time. I don't know why. I think they just had like limited like cameras that they could actually loan out. So it was super selective, and I remember getting 6th year, and I'd done pretty well in my hires before that. I'd done all the fucking hard subjects. I'd done like my maths, my physics, like English, all of that shit. That was done with. So I was like, right, I'm just gonna have a wee bit of fun in 6th year. So I was like, I'm gonna do art. I'm gonna see if I get into that photography class. I tried advanced maths, so just flunked that totally. And yeah, I was one of the like 20 people who actually got the chance to do photography, and it was kind of halfway through doing that, using an actual DSLR for the first time. I was like, this is fun. Like this is really cool. So doing that was just kind of a primer to like learning how to actually use a proper camera. Kind of towards the end of that, me and my mum split in like 50-50 for a like £40 camera body Canon 350D or something it was off eBay, just because I needed a camera to finish my like, you know, main project. And then eventually moved through to Glasgow. Didn't really touch it for a couple of years, just used it for like fun occasionally. And then it was actually when the dunts kicked off that they were kind of like, you know, we could kind of do with someone take gig photos. Do you want to just come and see what it's all about? That camera started making me money, basically, shoots I was doing on that. So I was like, right, I'm kind of getting paid to do something where I can just go out, have a few drinks with my friends, see some live music, which has always been like a big thing for me. I was like, I'm just not going to stop doing this. I'm just going to see where it goes. And that's still where I am just now.
Would you say you're ambitious?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like right now, I'm like basically working a 7-day week most weeks, because I do 3 days a week, like engineering, 4 days a week, just catching up on everything, like editing video, doing photo shoots, editing photos, all of that. But certainly with the video stuff, that's something that I've just like totally taught myself, like just used the skills I had existing from photography. And I was just like, right, people are needing videos. I think I'm gonna figure out how to do this. So yeah, I've just kind of, ever since starting this, it's been like, I've just wanted to like figure out how to do more and more, do what I'm doing, but keep doing it better. You know, it's a totally different skill set, like taking photos at someone's gig to planning, directing and shooting an entire music video from scratch, then editing the whole thing together yourself. Like, so yeah, in that respect, probably quite ambitious.
When do you not have a camera on you?
Rarely, to be honest. To be fair, for a couple of years, like my only camera body was like a Canon 6D Mark II or something. That's like a big camera. So it used to be like a total ordeal to take that anywhere. So I would literally only take that when I was going something where I knew I was taking photos. But more recently, I've kind of traded that. So I basically upgraded that for something that's better with video. It's a little bit smaller, like it's still kind of big. And then I realized I still didn't have a camera on me as much as I wanted. So I started carrying a film camera around everywhere, but like, I was just spending a lot of money on film and then posting like no photos from it. Like I was just having them for like my own reference. So at that point, I was just like, nah, I want something small, digital. Got my new Fujifilm camera, and ever since then, I've just had it in my backpack like everywhere I've gone. So this year, since COVID, I'm pretty much nowhere without a camera.
What was the last concert you went to that you weren't working at, that you just went to for pleasure?
So there's actually been a few since COVID. I've been kind of putting in a bit of an effort to not like ground myself in being a gig photographer, because I was doing that before COVID. I was just shooting gigs, that was it. And I kind of realized that I was working myself into a little bit of a kind of niche corner. and I wasn't really doing it for. It wasn't that I didn't have a passion for it. Like I was loving doing it, but there wasn't really that much creative expression. You can only make, you know, so you shoot one band in King Tut's, and then the next week you shoot another band in King Tut's. And like the bands look different, but your photos can be quite similar. And I wanted to stop doing that. I wanted to focus more on doing stuff just for me. I wanted to do some promo content for bands. I wanted to do like album artworks and all that kind of stuff. So I put the focus on that over COVID, while gigs weren't on. And since coming back, I've kind of only shot the gigs that I've kind of either been asked to do specifically, or I've just like really been like, right, this is a band I've not shot in ages, I really want to do something different. But yeah, I saw a few acts over the Great Western Stag and Dagger day when they were both on. So probably the last one was Cheap Teeth. I did have my camera on me, but I just wanted to stand and enjoy it with a pint, like be able to speak to people while they were on. Before that, probably I went to see Spires at King Tut's. That was absolutely amazing. And again, I just went as a fan, like not to take photos.
If you're at Cheap Teeth and you have your camera on you, how difficult is it not to take pictures?
I find it scarily easy. Like I think once, so obviously there's this kind of thing of, you know, you don't want to give away for free what someone else is paying you to do, not because it makes me money at all, just because I don't want someone to feel like they've been cheated. Because you know, if, you know, for example, like I was just saying there that you know, with Cheap Teeth, I was standing there, I had my camera in my bag, but I hadn't spoken to them before the gig. You know, it's not like I know them particularly well. They didn't ask me for photos, so I wasn't going to take photos and then try and charge them for them. But the band I was actually out to shoot was Fauna, so if they'd asked me to come out, I'd gone, I'd charged them for the shoot, and then they saw I was doing photos for someone else, just totally free, because I was there, they'd kind of be like, you know, what's this all about? So yeah, I don't know if it's been like unconscious conditioning over the years, but I actually find it far too easy to have my camera in my bag and just be like, nope.
We've touched on this idea of the balance between the commercial and the creative sides of music photography. At what point did you feel like you managed to strike a balance that felt right for you between those two opposing aspects? Still
working on that. Still working. To be honest, right now, I'm not doing as much stuff just for me, like creatively, as I would want to do. And that's just the nature of kind of when you're working with, say I'm working with a band that's got like 4 members. Every one of us has other jobs, time's tight. You know, we'll do some planning, we'll find a location, but then already we've only got like a couple of hours to do a shoot. When you want to do a really, really big project, you do actually generally want to be bringing stylist, makeup, spending hours on your lighting, all that to maybe just get one shot. And yeah, I've kind of made it my goal for like 2022, going into 2022, to just make the time to do that more. To, you know, just if it's like one day a month or something like that, just have a project that I know is going to happen that month, plan it a couple of months in advance, get everyone picked out, get a full team on board, and make something that's not like the stuff I would do usually. Just do something completely different every month and kind of try and develop a new skill set from it, I think.
You wake up, how soon after that do you start thinking about photography?
Oh man, depends on the day. If I've just ordered some new like gear or something like that, like instantly, second I wake up, I'm like, okay, when's this gonna arrive? Okay, what am I gonna do with it when I get here? Yeah, it totally depends on the day. Some days genuinely it actually won't cross my mind at all. I think that's good to kind of give yourself a break from thinking about it constantly, because you can kind of work yourself into a corner of just trying so hard to think of something new creative to do that it's just you give yourself writer's block by doing it, essentially. Like I find that can be a thing with like photography as well. So yeah, for me the good ideas just come at the most like random times. Like I'll just be like driving home and suddenly I'll have an idea for a shoot and I'll be like, right, this is something I'm going to have to write down when I get home and remember to come out and do.
How good a sense of a person do you feel you get from shooting them? How good a sense of who they are?
It can totally depend on the person. Usually, the better they are as a model, the less well you read them as a person when you do a shoot with them, which kind of makes sense because someone who's a good model is always going to be portraying a character, even in like quite a simple photo shoot. You know, you explain to them what you want, what the shoot's all about, and even if you don't necessarily tell them the character, they know in their head and they're portraying that character. Usually the people who are anxious coming into a shoot just put everything out there like on the table before you even start. You know, they'll start freaking out. A lot of the time people even make excuses before they come to a shoot, just like, man, I just want you to know, like, I had a pure terrible sleep last night, like, you know, so you probably have to edit out the bags under my eyes, and you know, they're just like, I'll probably like, oh, I was meant to be getting a haircut before I came and like I didn't have the chance to do it. Those are like the usual conversations I have walking into this studio right here, and that tells you really who a person is. Like even people you wouldn't expect, people that you think just have a lot of swagger about them and are just like, seem like they're going to be the most confident guy or girl in the world. When you get them, even before the camera comes out, they've got the apprehension of the camera coming out. They just lay it all flat on the table. So yeah, totally dependent on the person, but probably the people you'd least expect to give it all away in a photo shoot are the ones who give it away the most.
How do you create an environment where you can assuage the fears that someone might have coming into the studio?
So it's a big thing for me, particularly since I got this space. I never just get someone in and I'm like, right, you know, there's the backdrop, stand there, let's get the first photo done, bum, 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 okay, right, new pose, bum, bum, bum. It's a really big thing for me to like sit down, just have a big conversation first, like not even about the photo shoot, just like general chit chat, you know, at least start with that, you know, how's your day been, what have you been up to, if it's a band, you know, what's going on with the band, what was the last gig you played, what have you got coming up, just like a genuine actual conversation, so that they remember like I'm not this like big like scary guy at all, like just because I'm the one taking photos of them, like it doesn't actually mean anything. I'm just here to provide a service for them generally. It's in my interest to have them as relaxed and as comfortable as humanly possible going into the shoot. So yeah, like I've had some more like kind of commercial clients, like I'll obviously not name any names, who wanted things like, you know, some quick video clips or quick shoots of however many people done in one day. You know, I don't know what they were expecting, 20, 30, 40 people done in one day. And they're like, yeah, you can get photos for them done in like 10 minutes or something, can't you? It's like, yeah, I can get the photos done in 10 minutes, but I'm not going to get a read of who that person is. You're not going to get photos of that person because they're just going to be totally locked off. There's just this big strange guy they've never met before come in, take photos of them. You know, like they've not had a chance to think about, as I say, the character they want to try and portray or anything else. It's just like, oh, right, there's camera, okay, right, I've got to do this, got to do that. Then it's like, oh, done, and they're walking away thinking like, right, that could have been done so much better. So it's a big thing for me to just like take the time to, you know, especially if it's someone I've never met before, meet that person, get to know their person, get to know that person, get to know what they want, get to know everything about, even just if it's a band, to know stuff about their sound as well, and to be able to kind of explain to them like, I understand, you know, I've listened to music, like I understand it, I'm hearing this visually, I think that would translate to that, and suddenly you just see everyone in the room go, oh, okay, right, okay, this isn't going to be some horrendous experience, like this is literally just someone who's like as passionate about doing this as we are.
Is your process different if you're shooting someone that you already know?
Definitely, because if it's someone they already know, like I can have a laugh with someone I already know and not make them feel like self-conscious. You know, if I'm taking photos of someone new and I look at the camera and start laughing, they're just going to be like, what? Like, you know, they'll probably just walk out the door. Whereas, you know, like funny stuff does happen on shoots. When I'm taking photos, I shoot pretty fast. Like I take a lot of photos in a photo shoot. So you do get a lot of like in between shots where people are blinking really funny or whatever, and when it's someone that you know, you have a laugh and you go up and show them and you're like, ah, and you know, like they know it's not like a dig at them, they know it's just how a shoot goes. So to that extent, it's definitely different. Like it's, yeah, if it's someone I already know, they're already usually at ease, at least to an extent.
What qualities do you need as a person, as a human being, to be a good photographer?
Probably the most important thing is social skills. Probably better than the ones I've got. Like I think the biggest thing is that you're dealing with like people very directly. Like you need to put people at ease. They're not going to take a good photo if they're not at ease. A lot of the time, some photographers go for a totally different style of photography where they're looking to get someone, you know, really caught off guard and awkward. But for me, it's about putting a person at ease, trying to figure out who they are, and capture that. So, yeah, people skills is like a big one. Just being someone who's friendly, approachable. You just need to be someone that anyone who comes into the studio feels like they can trust. You know. So when you're working with, especially if you're doing a job with like, you know, I've done test shooting for various modelling agencies before, and sometimes I'll get sent, you know, like girls who are, you know, much younger, like 16, 17, 18. I'll normally say to them, if I've to arrange a shoot, then I'll say to them, you know, look, this is where we'll be shooting. Send the address of where you're going to be to a friend before you come. Bring a friend. And I've had situations where people have brought their mums before. I'm like, bring as many people as you want. Like, if you want an audience in here, bring an audience. You know, I think it'll put you off, but definitely bring at least one person so that you know you're going to be comfortable. And then, yeah, it's all about just sitting down, having a real conversation, getting on with that person before you start, because if you don't get on, if you don't fit each other's vibes, you're not going to make good work together. Simple as that.
What's the most rewarding part of what you do, of your job?
Just kind of giving people a product that they're happy with, you know, and yeah, making something that I'm happy with as well. You know, I've noticed it happens a lot more probably actually with video, because it's a bigger project than with photos. Because with photos, I usually send someone, you know, 20 plus photos that I think are brilliant from a shoot. Whereas a video, you're always only ever going to be making one thing. So just that moment when you're editing it together and it just starts falling in together, and you're like, yes, this is actually what I was hoping it would be. That's an amazing moment. Like just from a personal level, and when you know it's that good, and you know whoever you're making it for hasn't seen it yet, and you're just getting that wee transfer set up, and you're like, man, just wait till you see this. You're gonna absolutely love this. Like the anticipation of getting some feedback on that, like that's rewarding. And yeah, like, you know, same with anything. Like, you want people to be honest as well. You don't want to build it up too much. You want to be completely flat and honest. You want notes. If someone doesn't give you any notes, then they're either just trying to please you, or they just aren't actually interested in it at all. So just because someone gives you like a list of notes like this doesn't mean they're not happy, but it's definitely getting that final version together where someone's really, really happy and they put it out, and you see them getting a reaction off that. That's definitely rewarding.
How do your parents feel about what you do?
Yeah, they seem to love it. Like both my mum and dad are pretty different to me. Like they've career-wise, they're very similar to me, but career-wise they're very different. They both have PhDs from Glasgow Uni in genetics. But I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, but my dad's he does not particularly enjoy his job. So it's always been a big thing for them. Like, look, please, no matter what, no matter how well you do in school, doesn't matter about any of that. Just go and do something you enjoy doing. Do something where you're never going to work a day in your life, So I think that they're just really, really happy that I've found something that I really enjoy doing. Yeah, I think the biggest thing this year has definitely been the Baby Strange video. I think my mum checks for how that's doing for views like every single day. Like every time we're on the phone, she's like, "Oh, that video's doing so well. Oh, it's just so good. We just love it." And like, you know, it's been out since like, I don't know, like June, July or something like that, and still we talk about it like once a week. You know, so yeah, they're, you know, like as I say, it's not an academic job. And it's something that my granddad did photography a little bit, but he died when I was like 6 months old, so it's not something that any like active member of my family does, as far as I know. But they just find it really interesting. When I first started out, actually, I was still doing my undergrad degree, and I was just not enjoying it at all. I said to them a few times, I was like, I think I might just drop out and do photography. Like, you know, it's going well, like I'm landing jobs, like I could just put all my time into this and actually make it a thing. And they were just like, no. Like, no. Like I was in fourth year at the time as well, so it wasn't like I was just starting. They were just like, Daniel, just finish it. Just keep doing photography, but just finish it. And since I graduated from that, they were just like, yep, makes you happy, just do it.
The idea that if you do something you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, definitely. For me, like, if I wake up on a day and I've got like nothing lined up, you know, no photography job, no video, nothing to plan, nothing, I'm just like, oh, what's the point? Like, I'll stay in bed till like 2, 3 in the afternoon, because I'm just like, what am I even getting up for? Like, it's just like, you know. So yeah, the days I wake up most excited are the days when I'm doing, a big project. Like if it's something I've never done before, I'll like barely be able to sleep the night before. I'm so excited, and it's work, you know. So yeah, when I've got stuff coming up, like I'm thinking about it every single day, like a week in advance. Just like, how can I make this the best it can possibly be? How can I be prepared for this? And it's from a place of excitement, genuine excitement, not from a place of anxiety or fear about how it's going to turn out.
What's an experience you've had that was difficult at the time, but in hindsight was rewarding?
Oh man, that's a seriously good question. Honestly, in terms of photography and videography, I've been so lucky. I've had so few bad experiences. I couldn't even really name one offhand. I would say the only thing that was difficult was like at the end of last year, the start of this year. It was really difficult to find jobs to do. You know, we were tier 4 lockdown off and on. Really was not making any money. I was basically just having to sit on universal credit and just wait it out. And I was like, right, is this a sign that I should just pack this in? Like, you know, it's clearly not sustainable. I'm not making any money. Should I just be doing something else? And I think the fact that I just waited it out has got me to the point I'm at now, which is like, right now I'm like actually sustaining myself on photography, which even before lockdown, I was a student at the same time as doing photography, so like I always had SAS to rely back on. Like it was never my main source of income. Whereas like now, even though I do have another job, like it actually could be like if I didn't have another job, I could actually take on more bookings. I could do more things. I could reach out to more people to start doing different stuff. So definitely that was a difficult decision to make, to just live like basically on the breadline with the absolute bare minimum for like 5 months, just in the hope that it would pay off once things opened back up, and it did.
What period in your life would you say that you've worked the hardest?
Honestly, probably like around 4th year of my like undergrad uni, because that was probably the point before now where I was taking on the most photography bookings I've done at any point before now. But I was also doing like an aeromechanical engineering set of like 5 classes and a dissertation all at one time. So I was like literally in uni at like 9 a.m. all the way through to like 7 p.m. writing my dissertation, studying, whatever. Then I would basically go straight from uni to a gig or a shoot or whatever. I would shoot it. I would go out after, sometimes go home and edit straight after, sometimes go to after straight after, and then just go straight from there back into uni and just hit the grind again, straight from like afters into the library and just hit the grind on the dissertation again. I mean, I didn't have to do it like that, but it was definitely self-induced, but that was definitely the hardest I've ever worked, without a doubt.
How much of your self-worth do you think you get from your job?
Yeah, most of it, definitely. I mean, I very much like, I didn't put any thought into this when I was like naming like my Instagram page or anything like that. You know, I was just like, all right, well, my name's Daniel Blake. I'm going to start off by calling it like Daniel Blake Photography. That's easy, doesn't require too much imagination. But then it becomes like, it means that my name has like become my brand. So like, you know, I'll go on a night out and like, you know, someone I've maybe not spoken to before will come up to me and they'll be like, all right, Danny, I'm such and such. And they just know who I am because they've seen my work for such and such a band or whatever. And that's like a really, really like rewarding feeling. You know, it's not like, you know, it's sometimes not even people who are in bands at all. It's sometimes just people who are like, oh, that shoot you did with such and such was like really, really cool. You know, like, or this video you did, I watched it and it just like, you know, like it explained the song to me, or I really got into a song after I watched this video. And yeah, that definitely gives you a feeling of like definite self-worth. Like it kind of, it means a lot to me when stuff like that happens. So yeah, I think pretty much all of it comes. I mean, that's how I put myself out into the world, you know, through my work. So like I hope that people get a read of me through the work I create, and like, you know, even if it's not me releasing it first, even if a band puts it out first, whoever's watching it, looking at it, get an idea of like how I perceive the world as well. So yeah.